team. Hope all is well. Hope you're having fun with some virtual classes and your bodies are thanking you for it. Just a reminder, like normal, just to be careful around the space that you're in. Make sure that there's nothing around that you're going to hit yourself or hurt yourself on. Listen to your bodies. If there's something that's not quite right for your body today, leave it out. It's not very long before we'll pass through that section of the class and move on to the next bit. So just work within the range that's best for your body. If you haven't already rolled yourself out a little bit with your foam rollers, roll yourself out a bit more. Feel free to pause the video and roll yourself out a bit more. I'm going to do a little bit of calf mobility on the rollers before we kick off. So we're looking for foam rollers turned sideways. You're going to let your legs come up and rest on your roller. Now you could do this with a spiky ball. You could do this with one of the green Franklin balls. Potentially you could do this with a tennis ball. Otherwise you've got your legs up on your roller. Prop yourself back on your arms. Feel free to prop yourself up on your knuckles if that is more comfortable for your wrists. If putting your weight bearing through your wrist like this is uncomfortable, then just switch that around. Make sure that the foam roller is under what I refer to as the chunky bit of your calf, so the thickest bit of your calf. So foam roller's resting underneath there, legs are out nice and long, cross one leg over the other and point your toes away from you. Your brain will say, if I pull my toes towards me, it doesn't hurt as much. So I want you to point your toes away from you to make it most effective release of your calf as possible. Then you're going to slowly roll your legs to one side along the foam roller, and then you're going to roll them the other way. So literally just turning your legs. All right. You might feel and find that you feel like there's a couple of strips of tight muscle down the sides. Might feel like a bit like a, depending on how tight your calf is, a little bit like a rope that you're sort of feeling as you take your leg across your foam roller. Mindful of what's going on with those feet. So again, watch that your feet don't start to pull too far towards your nose. And then just that nice little range of motion each way. If it's incredibly painful, you can just leave it out. Otherwise, we're going to do 2 more each way, rolling right to left or left to right. And we're just going to feel the difference between our calves. Just bend your knees, roll the roller towards you. Feel how one calf feels compared to the other calf. Okay, you should feel much more relaxed. Then roll your roller back, drop your opposite leg on top. Sorry, on the bottom, other leg comes on top, toes pointed away, and then that nice little roll. So you're going to go right again, you're going to roll left to right. Nice little massage through those calves. Again, you might feel that there are some ropes of what it feels like ropes of steel down the outside of your calves. If it's too painful, just take your leg off your roller. It won't be long before we're through this section. Otherwise, that nice little massage. So if you feel this is really intense, you should probably do it more often. If you feel it's really intense, just watch things like your footwear and stuff like that. Wear smart support shoes. Make sure the bottoms of your feet don't get too tight by rolling them out with a spiky or a Franken ball. Sometimes those two things are related, the tightness in the bottom of your foot and your calf. You might feel one side is much worse than the other. Okay, one more each way. And to the other side. And then relax. I'm going to get you to feel your calves again. Should feel much more relaxed. Instead of lying in goalposts on our rollers today, we're just going to get our rollers out the way. So I'm just going to slide my roller out the way. I'm going to stand it up, just tuck it out my way. And we're going to go straight to lying down on the mat. So you're going to wriggle yourself down. You're going to put yourself in nice alignment between your ankles, your knees and your hip bones. So there should be one straight line. We tend to think of from the second toe to the knees to the hip bones. So that's your straight line. We want to teach the body to weight there evenly through those joints, and we're going to, by doing that, we also help create even muscle distribution through those 3 points. Okay, so nice straight feet as well. Arms down by your side. Just think about your head, neck, and shoulder posture here. So you want to have a nice little gap between your chin and your chest. If you feel like your chin is tucked in towards your chest a bit, feel free to wriggle your head back. If you feel like your head's tipped back a bit far, you might want to put a little pillow, maybe a folded up towel underneath your head so you've got neutral spine. Before we do anything, we're just going to think about how we feel on the mat. So start at the top and think about how your head, neck and shoulders feel on the mat. What's touching the mat and what isn't touching the mat. With your shoulders left to right. Do you feel that one shoulder is closer to the mat than the other? Work down through your arms. What's touching? Are they a little bit different? Do you feel like one arm is sort of rotated a bit? Is your shoulder joint a little rotated? Do they feel nice and even? Then go back to your ribs. Think about how your ribs feel. Again, what's touching the mat and what isn't touching the mat. Down through your lower back and your hips. What's touching and what isn't. And even down to your feet. So just doing a little bit of a body scan. Giving our brains and body a bit of feedback on what's going on. So what part of your foot is touching? Do they feel the same? Do they feel a bit different? You're going to bring your hands up and you're going to place your hands in your rib cage and you're going to have your middle fingers just touching each other. So middle fingers are touching and hands are resting on the rib cage. Nice big deep breaths. So you're breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your mouth. And as you're taking those nice big deep breaths, as much as possible you're using your full lung capacity for me. So you're letting as much air into your lungs as you can. And you're slowly letting all of that air out. So you're completely draining your lungs of air. Big deep breath in through your nose. And out through your mouth. Got 3 more breaths to go. You should be feeling your ribs moving underneath your hands. Your middle fingers should be coming apart. You should feel your ribs opening up towards the side. And you should also feel them just gently pushing into the mat. 1 more breath pattern. Big deep breath in through your nose. And out through your mouth. Leave one hand on your rib cage, rest the other hand on your belly. So you're going to do some diaphragmatic breathing. You're going to breathe with our tummies. So you're going to breathe in and you'll feel your belly lifting up underneath your hand. And you're going to breathe out. You'll feel that belly dropping. Breathing in, feel the belly lift. Breathing out, feel the belly dropping. So you keep breathing like that for me. Belly lifts and lowers. We're getting some warmth through the abdominal wall. We're massaging our internal organs with that breath pattern. Our diaphragm and our pelvic floor are connected. So we're working our pelvic floor. Those pelvic floor muscles are lifting and lowering. The pelvic floor muscles are like any other muscle group. You need to work them to strengthen them and to keep them nice and strong. Diaphragmatic breathing is a simple way to strengthen them. Okay, you've got 1 more breath. Big deep breath in, allow that belly to lift. And then exhale. Let's drain the air out of your lungs. Float your arms down by your side, and initially I'm going to get you to turn your palms to the ceiling. So that just helps you broaden those shoulders. Feet, stand firmly in them. So feel even weight distribution across your foot, big toe, across the little toe and right through the heel. Pelvis, we're going to start with some pelvic tilts. We're going to take a breath in, and as we breathe out, we're going to gently tip the pelvis backwards. We're going to allow that pelvis to flatten and open this lower back into the mat. And then we're going to roll the pelvis forwards, and we're going to feel our back arch up off the mat. We're going to gently roll our pelvis backwards. We're breathing out as we do so. We feel our spine flatten. And then we're going to roll our pelvis forwards, and we see our back arch. So you can keep moving in your own time. Trying to exhale as you roll backwards, trying to inhale as you roll forwards. Don't overthink the breath pattern, just make sure you're breathing for me. Knees are relatively still. Try to keep them in line with your second toe. Your head is going to move, your chin will pop in towards your chest, your chin will pop up towards the ceiling. That's perfectly fine, let that happen. But try to stabilize through your feet and your knees. We're going to do 1 more each way. Gentle roll back, allow your spine to flatten into the mat. Roll the pelvis forwards and let the back arch, and then just rest in neutral. Moving from your wrists, you're going to swivel your palms down. You're going to gently engage your arms into the mat, so that's going to help you switch your back muscles on. Again, you're standing firmly in those feet. You're going to take a breath in. As you breathe out, you're going to tip your pelvis backwards again, and then you're going to lift. You're going to lift your hips, you're going to lift your back. You're going to come right up off of the mat. You're going to come up to the base of your shoulder blades. You're going to take a breath in there, and you're going to breathe out as you slowly articulate down. You've got 1 long breath to get yourself all the way down if you can. If you run out of air, obviously take another breath. Going again. Inhale first, allow the spine to tip back, let it flatten into the mat, and then up you come into your bridge. Push your knees out towards your second toes. Pause there, take a breath in, and then breathe out to slowly down. You're going to come down through 1 vertebra at a time, and you're going to let your pelvis roll down through neutral. Okay, so we're going again. Arms still engaged into the mat, feet nice and firm, particularly the insides of your feet. Try not to let them lift, keep your big toes firmly down on your mat. Breath in, and then breathe out to down through each vertebrae, articulate down, pitch them in your spine. They're slowly coming down one by one, pelvis rolls through neutral, you've got one to go. Inhale first, exhale. Long breath out as you come up into your bridge. You're opening up through the front of your hips. Take a breath in there, and then breathe out to come down. Each vertebrae peels down one at a time, and let your pelvis roll through neutral and rest. We're going to work on some dead bugs, and we're going to work on those dead bugs without our hip flexors engaging. So I want you to take your hands, and I want you to rest them on the crease, the front part of your legs and the crease of your hips. So just sort of there's the crease in my hip. I've got my hand resting there. So we're not going to overthink it to begin with. You're going to just lift one leg up for me, and you'll probably feel a muscle in the front of your thigh here. Click on, and then you're going to lower that leg down. So then go to the other side, gentle lift. You might feel that muscle click on, and then lower it down. Okay, we're just going to do one more on each side. Got your hands resting in your hip crease there. As you lift your leg up, you probably feel that muscle engaging, and then lowering it down. Got one more on the other side. Gentle lift. Try to keep those hip flexors relaxed, and lower down. Okay. Now, I'm going to try and lift your leg without your hip flexors engaging. So, we'll just do one on each side to show you where you're at, and then we'll work through some tricks to help that. So switch your tummy muscles on, use your breathing, take a breath in and breathe out to see if you can lift that leg up without that muscle over activating, and then lower it down. Then do the other side, breathing in first, exhale to lift, and lower. Okay. Now, if you're struggling, take it back a step further. See if you can just lift your heel without that muscle activating, and lower. Change sides. Can you lift your heel without that muscle activating, and lower? Then lift your heel, lift your toes, and float the leg up without the hip flexor activating. Remember your breath. Breathing out. To lift it up, tummy muscles are engaged. So we're trying to deactivate our hip flexors and lift our leg using our abdominals. So you mightn't get the hip flexor completely relaxed, but it should give you some feedback as to which muscle group is doing the majority of the work. Okay, take your hands and now bring them on your pelvis. So you're going to rest your hands on your hip bones. So bearing all that in mind, we're going to lift our leg up without those hip bones moving. So you should feel no movement underneath your hands. Starting with your left leg, take a breath in and breathe out to float the heel, lift the toes and lift the leg up to 90 degrees. Hip flexors are relaxed, pelvis is still, and then lower the leg down. Change sides. Inhale first, exhale. Toe, heels, toes, leg. Lower down. So alternate sides, we're just doing a few. Underneath your hands should be perfectly still. Your hip bones should not be wobbling around. Core is gently engaged. So engage those tummy muscles for me. Inhaling first, exhale to lift and lower. Okay. And the next one, we're going to move these to femur arcs. So you're going to bring your left leg to that 90 degree position in the same manner, and you're going to hold it there. You're going to breathe in and breathe out to bring your right leg to join it. Now, pelvis is stable and still. Small range of movement first, if you like. You're going to start to take your toes down towards the mat. Try not to let your back move or your pelvis move, and then bring it back up. Alternating sides. Exhaling to take the toes down. Inhale to bring it back up. So this movement comes from your hip bones, not your knees. Your knees and your shins and your thighs stay at a right angle with a nice 90 degree bent knee. If you feel your back lifting, I want you to take your leg just halfway down. We'll do one more on each side. Tummy muscles are staying switched on. Pause at the top for me. Lower one leg down and rest. Lower your other leg down and rest. Drop both of your knees, so bring your hands down by your side, drop both of your knees loosely to the left hand side of the mat, take your gaze over your right shoulder. So knees are apart, just drop them gently over to the left and hang here and breathe for me. Nice big deep breaths. Okay, engage your tummy muscles. Pull your legs through the center using your abdominals. Drop them to the right hand side of the mat. Take your gaze over your left shoulder. And again, nice big deep breaths. Hang here and breathe. Breathing in through your nose. Breathing out through your mouth. Nice. Pull your legs back into the center and pause. Arms back down by your side. Shoulders are nice and relaxed. Reach your fingertips right down towards your toes. So we're going to keep our front ribs and our back ribs still. So if you take your thumb and put it on the bottom of your ribs, and then open your hand, and you should be able to touch your pinky finger on your pelvic bone. So you've felt the distance that's currently between your bottom rib and your pelvis. So you're going to keep that gap still. Let's keep the hand in there for the moment. Right arm. Take a breath in and breathe out to bring that arm to the ceiling and as far back as you can without that gap between your thumb and your little finger changing sides. And then bring the arm all the way back down. Okay, so you're maintaining your rib to hip connection. The hand on your abdominals is giving that feedback. Inhale first, exhale, arm goes to the ceiling, take it back, keep your finger and your thumb at that same distance, and then bring it all the way down. Let's do that on the other side. So thumb on the bottom of the ribs, little finger on that pelvic bone, opposite arm down by your side, maintaining that gap to be exactly the same size, exhaling as the arm goes backwards, going to the point that you can keep that gap perfectly still, and then bring the arm all the way back down. We're going to do one more. Inhale first, exhale, breathe out as you take those arms back. That will help you to maintain that rib to hip connection and that same gap between your thumb and your little finger, and then bring it all the way down. Okay, keep that imagery in your head, bring both arms down by your side. So, pelvic bones still, rib cage still. Take a breath in, breathe out to bring your both arms to the ceiling. You're taking them as far back as you can without those ribs moving, and then bring your arms all the way down by your side. Now, broad shoulders. So yes, you've got long arms, but you're not reaching too far to the ceiling that you feel your shoulder blades lifting up off of the mat. Lengthen through those fingers, open through the palms. Nice long breaths to match your movement. So we're keeping our rib to hip connection. That's that gap between your bottom rib and your pelvic bone. Your stomach muscles are doing that. As you take your arms backwards and you can maintain that distance, it makes sure that your shoulders are the things that are moving here and not your ribs. Let's do two more. Inhaling first, exhale, take those arms to the ceiling. As far back as is comfortable for you today, and you can maintain that connection, and then bring them all the way down. You've got one to go. Inhale first, exhale, back you go. And then bring them all the way down. And rest them down by your side. Now, some little leg circles. Bring your left leg up to tabletop. Stretch your left leg out long and straight so your two knees are in line with each other. Point your toes away from you so your leg is nice and long. Get that nice stretch to the front of your hip. Then draw me some nice round circles on the wall on the other side of the room. As you start to draw your circles, don't make them too big for me. I want you to be able to keep your right leg nice and still. So if you feel your right leg wobbling around, make sure your stomach muscles are gently engaged. Maybe make your circle a little bit smaller. Let's change the direction. Go the other way. Nice big deep breaths. Breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your mouth. Right leg is not moving. Left leg is long. Long, long leg. Got two more circles to go. And then you're going to bend your knee. You're going to place your foot back down on the mat. You're going to float your right leg up to tabletop. You're going to stretch it out nice and long. Point your toes away from you. And circles. So imagine on the end of your big toe is a red crayon. And you are drawing a red circle on the wall. The circle that you are drawing is nice and round. On top of your left knee is a cup of coffee. And that coffee is stable and still. There's no spillage. Change direction of your circles. You're breathing. Nice big deep breaths. Breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your mouth. Nice and relaxed through your head, neck and shoulders. There's no tension up there. You've got 2 circles to go. And then you're going to bend your knee and bring your foot back down onto the mat. You're going to bring your left leg straight out to the ceiling. You're going to interlace your hands and you're going to pull that leg in towards your chest. Nice relaxed foot to begin with. I want you to be able to feel this stretch in the back of your hamstring. If you're feeling it in your calf, point your toes to the ceiling more. If you're feeling it in your knee, bend your knee slightly. Leg pulls gently into the chest, you should feel that stretch. Now, we're going to add neural floss. So if you can pull your toes to your nose and point your toes to the ceiling. So you're just going to flex and point and flex and point. If that's really painful for you, you can obviously leave it out. One more each way. Toes to nose, toes to ceiling. Relax that foot, lower the leg down. Second leg to the ceiling, interlace the hands, pull the leg in towards the chest. Again, nice relaxed foot to begin with. If you're feeling it more in your calf, point your toes up towards the ceiling a little more. If you're feeling it in your knee, bend your knee. Okay, let's add our neural floss. Toes to nose, toes to ceiling. So go a little flex and point at the foot. You might feel how different this foot feels to the other one. You might have a bit more range in the other ankle. Okay, 2 to go. Toes to nose, toes to ceiling. Last one. And then bring the leg all the way down. Okay, interlace your hands behind your head. So ring finger, little finger, they're tucked on the base of your skull and your thumbs are running down the back of your neck. Elbows are nice and wide. Imagine you're trying to touch your elbows on the opposite sides of the room. We're going to start with some little chest lifts. We're going to take a breath in, we're going to breathe out to gently lift our head, neck and shoulders. We're going to look directly down to the middle of our thighs and then we're going to lower ourselves all the way down. So inhale, breath first. Exhale, breathe out as you lift. Keep the elbows nice and wide. Lower yourself all the way down. Your gaze is important, team. Where your eyes go, your body will go. So make sure you look directly down to the middle of your thighs. That will help you get that correct lift to lift up to the base of your shoulder blades. Spine will flatten when you lift yourself up. Okay, let's do 2 more. Inhale first. Exhale, lift. Nice wide elbows. Lower yourself all the way down. You've got 1 to go. Inhale first. Exhale, up you come. Lower yourself all the way down. We're going to move into crisscross. You can feel free to rest at any point, team. So elbows still nice and wide. Float one leg to 90 degrees and hold it there. Take a breath in. Bring your second leg up to join it. Inhale first. Exhale to lift head, neck and shoulders. Wide elbows still looking down between those legs. Stretch one leg out nice and long. Bring the opposite elbow across to your knee. And then inhale, exhale. Switch them over and change. So one leg lengthens. Opposite elbow comes towards your knee. If you can't touch that knee, don't stress, just bring it to where you can. Lengthen through that leg. Stretch it out as long as you can. Try to keep your gaze sort of on a horizontal line around the room as you keep going from side to side. Rest if you want to have a rest. We're going to do 1 more each way. Breathing in, breathing out. Last one. Come back into the middle, pause, lower your head, neck and shoulders down. Bring 1 foot down at a time and just rest for a second. We're going to keep those hands behind your head for the moment. Okay, we're coming back up. We're going to start with a single-legged version. We're going to move it into a double-legged version. The double-legged version is more challenging than single. You can feel free to stick with singles. I'll walk you through that in a minute. Float one leg to 90 degrees and hold it there. Take a breath in. Bring the second leg to join it. Stretch both of your legs straight to the ceiling and initially just tuck your legs to touch each other. Now, take a breath in, breathe out, lift head, neck and shoulders up. So you're looking down the middle of your thighs. Let's go left leg low first. Lower it down towards the mat, not too far, and then bring it back up. Change to the right, lower the leg down, bring it up. So, alternate sides of me. Spine stays imprinted. So if you feel your back starting to lift up off of the floor or off of your mat, then you're going too far. Work within the range that you can control. We're going to do 1 more on each side of singles. Then we're going to do 4 doubles. You can keep alternating legs if you prefer. Otherwise, come with me. Glue your legs together. Take a breath in. Breathe out. Lower both legs down to the point that you can control and then bring them back up. Keep that spine gently imprinted. Lower the legs down. Lengthen through those toes and then bring them back up. Elbows nice and wide. Your gaze should be down to the middle of your thighs and then bring them up. You've got 1 last one. Lower those legs down. Bring them back up, pause at the top, put your head, neck and shoulders down, bend your knees, Slide your feet down and along the mat, stretch them out long and straight. Take your hands from behind your head, reach your arms over the top of your head if you can. Open your palms for me, open through your fingers, stretch your hands, point your toes away from you, get that nice length through the front of your hips, big long full body stretch. Take a breath in and breathe out to float your arms to the ceiling, and then breathe them all the way down and rest them down by your side. Okay, we're going to roll onto our side. So roll yourself over. You're going to have your arm bent and rest your head in on your arm. Knees are bent and feet are tucked back behind you. So your feet should be in line with your hips. Sometimes we line our feet up and our back and our butt up with the edge of the mat because that helps you put yourself in a line. You don't need to do that, but it's a nice little bit of feedback. Bottom arm could be straight or it's bent. If that's uncomfortable for you, you could have a little pillow underneath your head. Start by putting your hand on your hip. Push your hip away from yourself and then just feel that little gap that you've created in your waistline, okay? You want to keep that little gap. A hand can stay on your hip or it can come down in front for some stability. Feet are staying touching. You're going to lift your top knee up off of your bottom knee and then you're going to lower it down. So as you open and close that leg, your hips don't move. That little gap that you created in your waistline is still there, all right? Try not to let your abdominals and your waistline drop down into the mat. If you feel your hip wanting to tip backwards, then just change the range, make it smaller. It doesn't need to be big. You could have your hand on your hip if you like, or you can have your hand on the mat, doesn't matter. But I do want you to keep stable through the torso and your hips. Focus on that stability for me. Okay, we've got one more. Lift and lower. Okay, keep the waistline gap. Keep your bottom leg bent, stretch your top leg out long and straight and flex your foot. Toes are pulled towards your nose. Hand on your hip or on the mat, either is fine. Let's think about 20 to 30 centimetres. Lift your leg up towards the ceiling and then lower it down. Long leg. Lengthen out through that heel. It's like you're trying to scrape your heel up the wall on the opposite side of the room. Not so high with the leg that you feel that gap that you created within your waistline disappearing. Work within the range that you're able to control. Let your breath help you. Breathing out to lift and breathing in to lower. Still got the length in the leg and your breath is matching the movement. One more. Gentle lift and lower. Let your foot rest on the mat. Stretch your bottom leg out long and straight as well for me. Bring both of your feet slightly in front. So it's just a little bit of an angle now on your legs and your body. If your hands are already there, bring it down on the mat and put it in front of you. We're going to go into some hip openers. If you can turn your legs so your knee rotates to the ceiling, take your toes, slide them from your ankle to your knee, kick your leg up nice and high, and then flex your foot to bring your leg back down. So you're going ankle to knee, kick up high, flex the foot to bring it down. Breathing, inhaling and exhaling. So kicking high, lengthening the leg as you bring it back down to the mat. Toes glide from your ankle to your knee. Kick your leg up high, flex the foot as you bring it down. Try not to wobble around too much through your torso. Try and keep that stable. You've got 2 to go. Ankle to knee, kick up and lower the leg down. Lucky last, ankle to knee, kick up and lower the leg down. Rest for a second, then flip yourself round the other way. So first position is down with our knees bent. So the head is resting in on the arm again, straight or bent, whatever's good for this side of your body. You could line yourself up with your mat if you wanted to, you don't need to. Knees bent, feet tucked in behind you. Start by placing your hand on your hip, push your hip away. Again, you've created that space down underneath between your waistline and your mat. You want to keep that little gap. Hand back on the mat in front of you or on your hip. You can choose. We're starting with little clams. Feet are going to stay touching. If you can lift your top knee up off of your bottom knee and then lower it down. So we're opening and closing that hip joint. We're trying not to let our hips tip backwards. As we open and close that hip joint, we're breathing, inhaling and exhaling. If you feel your hips tipping backwards, you're changing the range. You're making it smaller. You're working within the range that you can stabilise. Nice and controlled through the torso. Pelvis is stable and still. We're just mobilising the leg. You should feel your butt working. You've got 2 to go. Little lift of the knee and lower down. Last one. Okay. Bottom leg stays bent. Top leg stretches out. Foot is flexed. Just watch that your toe doesn't point too much towards the ceiling. Have your foot on a horizontal. Then lift your leg up and lower it down. As you lift and lower, we're looking for 20 to 30 centimetres. If you go much higher, you'll feel your waistline tipping down into the mat. Your hand could be on your hip or on the mat for some stability. You can choose. You've got length in your leg. You are trying to scrape your heel up the wall on the opposite sides of the room. Nice long breaths to match your movement, gently lifting and lowering. Okay, got 1 to go. Lift the leg up and lower it down. Rest your foot on the mat for a second. Stretch both legs out long and straight. Bring them slightly forwards. Bring your hand and place it on the mat in front of you if it's not already there. Hip openers. Turn your knee so your knee rotates to the ceiling. Take your toes from your ankle to your knee. Kick your leg up nice and high and then flex your foot to bring your leg back down. So you're going ankle to knee, kick high, flex the foot as you bring it down. Let it flow. Ankle to knee, kick up, flex the foot as you bring it down. Breathing. Inhale, exhale. Nice long leg. Let it glide. Ankle to knee, kick high, flex the foot. Make that leg really long, 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 long as you bring it down. So try to think of getting your heel over the opposite ankle as you bring that leg down. 2 to go. Ankle to knee, kick up, flex the foot to bring it down. Last one, ankle to knee, kick up, flex, and down. Okay, we're going to roll straight onto our stomach. So gently flip yourself over. We're going to start with a little prone press up from the goalpost position. So hands a little bit wider than your mat. Shoulders relaxed, away from your ears. Forehead just hovering or resting on the mat, you can choose. Legs together, bit of inner thigh engagement. Tummy muscles switched on, so you feel like your belly button has just got a gentle lift up off of the mat. You're going to breathe in, you're going to breathe out to lift through the face, lift through the chest. Nice long neck for me, and then lower yourself all the way down. So I want your gaze to stay at the mat. Inhale first, exhale up you come. So just keep looking to your mat. You've got a nice long body, and then lower yourself all the way down. So as you're coming up and down, there's not too much pressure into your arms. It's your back muscles that are doing the work. Your feet are nice and relaxed down on the mat for me. If you feel your feet lifting, your glutes are trying to get in on the action. Your butt's trying to take over. Try to keep your feet nice and relaxed. We're going to do 2 more. Inhale first, exhale up you come. Just at the bottom of the ribs is the highest point, and then lower down. 1 to go. Inhale first, exhale, breathe, breathe, breathe. And lower down. Okay, take your arms down by your side and palms to the ceiling for me. Let's go toes apart, toes together, heels apart. So you've just sort of flopped your legs out. That will disengage your glutes. Arms are long, shoulders back and down, arms are long, fingers right down towards your toes. We're going to move into some darts. We're going to take a breath in, we're going to breathe out to lift our face, lift our chest, and lift our arms up off of the mat, and then lower yourself all the way down. Still want you to keep looking at your mat, so you're not moving your neck yet. Inhale first, exhale up you come. Lengthen through your fingers, reach, 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 and then lower yourself all the way down. So your gaze shouldn't have moved. That's going to keep that nice length through your spine, right up to the crown of your head. So you're a big, long human dart, and it's like somebody has just shot you out of a cannon. Okay, you've got 2 to go, team. Inhale first, exhale up you come. Breathe out, breathe out, breathe out. Lower down. 1 more for me. Inhale first, exhale up you come. Lengthen those fingers down to those toes and lower down. We're going to go into a little child's pose stretch. So let's take hips back to heels, arms in front. Sink yourself down into that. Little gap between your knees. I'm just going to have a sip of water. If you prefer to have your arms by your side, that's cool. Put your arms by your side. Sinking back into those heels. Watch your shoulders don't go too high by your ears here. Just trying to get a nice little stretch in your lower back. Let's breathe into the back of your ribs. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. 2 more breaths. Big deep breath in. Exhale out. Last one, big deep breath in. Exhale out. Come back down on your stomachs for me, and this time prop yourself up on your elbows. So you've got one hand resting on top of the other, Little Princess Mary pose. Your eyes and your gaze is about another hand pace and a half in front of your hands. Your shoulders are away from your ears and your tummy muscles are switched on. So you've got a little lift of your hips up off of the mat. You're going to bend your knee. You're going to bring your foot to your bottom. Your knee lifts off of the mat and you're going to pulse your foot twice. You're going to stretch that leg out long and then you're going to lower it. You're going to change sides. Bring your foot to your bottom. Pulse it twice. Lengthen the leg long and lower. So alternate sides in your own time. Pulsing the foot for 2. Lengthening the leg out long. As you lift your leg and bend your knee lifts up off of the mat. So you want to clear that knee slightly off the mat. It's not big. That's going to help you activate hamstrings and your glutes. Foot to bottom, pulse twice, lengthen long and lower. Bounce in your body is to a minimum. Try not to let your body move. Foot to bottom, pulse twice, 1 more on each side. Exhale to flex and point, and lower, and last one. Out and down. With your left hand, reach back and grab hold of your left foot. Swivel yourself forwards down onto your forearms. Let your head rest on your arm or your hand and gently pull your foot towards your hips. Little lift of the knee up off the mat if you can. If this bothers your knee, let your leg go and rest for a second. So you should feel a nice stretch to the front of your quad. Let your leg go, lower it down. Now you can either just reach back from here and grab your opposite leg, or if you prefer to pop yourself up on those elbows to get to the foot, feel free to do so. Foot gently coming to bottom, watch the knees, if it bothers you, let it go. A little lift of the knee up on the mat if you can, breathing, and then lower it down. Alright, we're going to wriggle you up onto all fours, we're going to go into quadruped. With quadruped today, we're going to add a hand and knee touch. So, that looks like this. We'll get there in a minute. Opposite arm and leg go out, lift. Hand and knee touch underneath your body. You'll stretch them back out and you'll lower them down. When you do that, you're not wobbling around, okay? So you want to maintain your neutral spine. Your neutral spine is an alignment from your back of your head to the middle of your ribs to your hips, okay? So there's a straight line all the way through your body. So set yourself up into quadruped. You could be on your knuckles if your wrist's a bit grumpy. If your wrist's a bit grumpy, you could also roll your mat up so that you haven't got that full direct pressure. You could also use your roller if you prefer. Either way, you are in a box shape. That box is your arms, your torso, and your legs. You're looking about a hand pace and a half in front, so you're a nice long neck again. We're going to do a little bit of patterning. We'll go singles, doubles, and then we'll add the hand and knee touch. So you're going to slide your first hand along the mat. You're going to lift it up for me, lengthen it out long, and then bring it down. You're going to change arms, slide out and lift, and bring it down. So as you alternate sides in your own time, and you're sliding your arm out and lifting, make sure that your shoulder blade doesn't move. So shoulders stay back and down. Try not to let that shoulder blade elevate towards your ears. 1 more on each side. Slide the arm out, lift it up, bring it down. Last one. Okay, hands staying on the mat, we're moving to legs. Slide your toes along the mat, lift your leg up, lengthen it long, and then bring it down. So alternate sides. You don't want to see any hip hinging. So your pelvis should stay square to the ground. Careful you don't lift too high that you get that hip hinge. You still have a focus on your stability as you're bringing those legs down. So don't lose the stability when you bring the leg down. 1 more, then we're going to add opposite arm and leg. Okay, we're going to do 2 with opposite arm and leg, and then we're going to do 2 with the hand and knee touch. So take a breath in, Breathe out to guide opposite arm and leg out. Lift them up, watch that shoulder doesn't hinge, and then bring it down. Changing sides. Inhale first, exhale, out you go. Down. One more on each side. Slide opposite arm and leg out. Lift up, make them long, and then bring them down. Last one. Exhale. Watch the shoulder doesn't hinge. Bring it down. Okay. Add in the hand and knee touch. So inhale first. Exhale, out you go. Hold here for a second. Now, bring your hand and knee. Touch them underneath your torso together. Stretch them back out. Lower them down. Changing sides. Opposite arm and leg go out. Hand and knee come together. They touch each other. Stretch them back out and lower them down. One more on each side. Opposite arm and leg go out. Hand and knee come together to touch. Lengthen the back out and lower down. Last one. Opposite arm and leg go out. Hand and knee come together to touch. Keep your stability. Lengthen them out and down. Little cat stretch. Drop your head down between your arms. Arch your back right up towards the ceiling and open through your spine. Change direction. Bring your tummy down towards the mat. Take your gaze across the room. Head drops between your arms. Arch your back right up towards the ceiling and open through your spine. Tummy comes down, gaze goes across the room. One more each way. Inhale first, exhale. Last one. Across the room. Rest for a second in neutral. Wriggle yourself forwards to the end of your mat. Little glute stretch. Both of your feet. Flick them to the left hand side of your mat. Pick your left foot up. Put it in the middle of your mat. Slide your left foot down the mat and come down onto your forearms. Once you're down there, you can wriggle that left foot back a bit further to deepen the stretch. It's not compulsory. And then you're going to breathe. You're going to sink into that hip. You're going to take some nice big deep breaths. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. One more breath here. You're going to carefully pull yourself back up onto all fours again. Going to the right. Right leg picks up. Put it in the middle of the mat. Down you go. Slide it down. Wiggle that foot back. Going down onto all fours again. Your head could rest on the mat if you wanted. It doesn't need to. Find that place that's comfortable for your body today. Big deep breaths. Okay, untangle yourself out of that. Come into a sitting position and stretch your legs out long and straight in front of you. Okay. If it's more comfortable for you to bend your knees, feel free to bend your knees. Okay, so sitting up tall, right up on top of your sit bones. Arms down by your side with your palms up. Going into some spine stretch. So you're going to bring your chin to your chest, little tuck of the abdominals backwards, and then you're going to slide your hands forwards, nice big stretch through your spine. Take a breath in there, breathe out to come back up. You're going to sit up nice and tall, your shoulders are well away from your ears. So inhale first, tuck of the chin to the chest, little scoop of the belly backwards, and then slide your hands forwards, breathe out as you do so. Pause there, breath in, come all the way back up, watch those shoulders stay nice and relaxed. Going again. Inhale first, chin tucks to the chest, little scoop of the abdominals backwards. Slide the hands forwards, stretch through your spine. Come all the way back up, we're going to do one more, then we're going to go straight into twist. Inhale first, tuck of the chin, round through the spine, breathe out as you curl forwards. Come all the way back up, sit up nice and tall. Flex your feet, toes to your nose, arms out towards the side. Now, if that's uncomfortable, feel free to put them across your shoulders. Sitting up tall, shoulders away from your ears. Moving to the left side first. Take a breath in. Breathe out to twist yourself around. Your feet are nice and still. Come back through the center. Exhale to twist the other way. Inhale first. Exhale through to the other side. Inhale through the center. Exhale. If your arms are out long and straight like mine, your hands are trying to stay in line with your shoulders. Try not to let those elbows bend. Your feet are still. If you feel them moving, gently push down on the foot that you're twisting towards. You're still sitting up nice and tall. You're rotating through the spine. You're disassociating the bottom part of your body from the top part, one more each way. Exhale to twist. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Through the center. Last one to the other side. Back into the middle. Pause. Lower your arms down. Little roll of your shoulders. Couple one way and then couple the other way. Okay, scoot your butt forwards for me. And come right down to the end of your mat. I'm going to go into some roll like a balls. If rolling like a ball is not for you today, feel free to just practice your balance. So a little tip of the pelvis backwards and practice your balance. You've got some choices for your hands. They could be around your shins. They could be underneath your knees. Do keep your shoulders broad and wide. So nice broad shoulders. You don't want to have them curled forwards. Yes, you're in a little ball, but you haven't hunched your shoulders up. So the first thing to do is wrap your arms around your shins, or you could have hands around knees if that's better. Going to look towards your pelvis. Okay, you've balanced yourself, so your feet are off of the mat. Gaze towards your pelvis and a little scoop of your abdominals. Now, whatever you're looking at, wherever you're looking with your pelvis, keep looking at that, okay? The breath pattern is to inhale back and exhale up. The first one does not count. Okay, when you're ready, inhale to roll back, exhale to roll back up, balance at the top. Inhale back, exhale up. Keep looking at that spot. Little scoop of those tummy muscles for me to create that nice little roundness of your spine. Try to balance at the top. Keep those shoulders relaxed. Inhale back, exhale up. If you don't breathe out as you come up, you won't get back up. 2 to go. Inhale back, exhale up. Keep looking to that pelvis. Last one. Inhale back, exhale up. Pause at the top and relax. Stretch your legs, wriggle your butt back a bit so your legs are slightly stretched out. Knees are bent, so we're walking probably 60 centimeters between your heels and your hips. Touch your legs together so they're glued together, okay? Glue them together, that helps you sort of get that wrap around so your leg muscles are activated. Sit up tall to begin with. Have your hands resting on the outside of your knees. We're going to do some half rollbacks. So the depth is up to you, don't go too deep to begin with. Take a breath in. As you exhale, chin comes to chest, look to your pelvis, scoot your abdominals, and roll back part way. Pause there, breathe in, and then breathe out to come back up. Sit up nice and tall. Inhale first, chin to chest, scoop to the belly, roll backwards, pause there, breath in, exhale to come back up. Keep going in your own time, choose your depth. Think about what's happening with your feet. Keep them still. Try not to let them slide on the mat. If your feet are moving, you're going backwards by moving your legs. You want to move your spine. Okay, 2 to go. Inhale first, tuck of the chin to the chest, heart roll backwards, pause there, breathe in, and then breathe out to come back up. Your tummy muscles should be nice and warm. And last one, chin to chest. Legs are still glued together, inner thighs engaged. Pause, breath in, come all the way back up. Stretch your legs out long and straight. Sit up tall, bring your arms in the horizontal line. We're going into a full roll down. Breathe in first, tuck the chin to the chest. You're going to slowly roll all the way down. As you're going down, your arms are going to go to the ceiling. You're going to circle your arms around and you're going to bring them all the way down by your side. Let them rest on about a 45-degree angle. So hands by your side, slide them out, find that 45-degree angle. Just make sure your shoulders are tucked underneath and their shoulder blades are away from your ears. Bend your knees and have your feet hip width distance apart. Engage your arms into the floor. So you're gently pushing your arms into the floor. You're going to use them, they're going to help you. We're going to do side to side. At any point through this exercise, you can bring your feet back down onto the mat and move side to side with your feet on the mat, okay? Right now you're in neutral spine, so you feel there's a little arch underneath your back. I want you to try and maintain that. Float one leg to 90 degrees and hold it there. Take a breath in, bring your second leg up to join it. Glue your knees and feet together. You are still in neutral spine. Shins are horizontal to the ceiling, so try not to bring your feet too high. Moving to the left first. Take a breath in, breathe out. Knees and feet go to the left, shoulder stays on the mat. Slowly come back through the center and go to the right. Alternate sides in your own time. Keep your arms engaged into the floor for me. Knees are glued together. Spine's in neutral. So as you roll through the middle, you feel that you've still got that little arch underneath your back. If you feel that arch has disappeared, then your knees have probably dropped a bit too far in towards your chest. It's probably your hip flexors, the muscles in the front of your legs pulling them in. If you want to have a rest, you're having a rest. Your knees are not coming apart, you have glued them together. And your breath is matching your movement. You're going to do one more each way. So nice and controlled through the center. And then you've got one more to the right. I want you to make sure you finish on your right hand side. That makes sure you're nice and even. And then when you're back in the middle, you're going to lower one leg down at a time. You're going to have your knees and feet touching. You're going to drop your knees to the left of your mat, and you're going to look over your right shoulder. You're going to breathe. Nice big deep breaths. Breathing in and breathing out. Big deep breath in. Exhale out. One more. Squeeze your knees together, pull them through the middle of the mat. Drop them over to the right hand side. Take your gaze over your left shoulder. You've got 3 breaths here. Inhaling through your nose and out through your mouth. Big deep breath in and out. Last one and out. Pull your legs back into the center of your mat. Roll completely onto one side. We're going to do some book openings. Cradle your head in on your arm. Knees are bent. Arm could be straight if you would prefer that. Top arm rests out on the floor in front of you. Your hands in line with your shoulder. So not too high, not too low. Knees are squeezed together. You're going to keep them engaged. You're going to take a breath in. You're going to breathe out to bring your arm to the ceiling. Your gaze follows your hand. And you're going to bring your hand back down to the floor. Okay. Going again. Inhale first. Exhale. Arm comes to the ceiling. Gaze follows the hand. And bring the hand back to the floor. Okay. I'm going to go into rotation. So you're going to take your arm to the ceiling. You're going to move into rotation. Your knees are still touching each other. Your hips haven't moved. Lengthen your arm to the ceiling. And bring it all the way back to the floor. Inhale first. Exhale, back you go. Knees are squeezed together, hips are stable and still. Your arm is nice and long. Lengthen it to the ceiling, reach, 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 and all the way back to the floor. Okay, you've got 3 to go. And the next one, feel. Shoulder blade glides into the middle of your spine. You're rotating the top part of your body, but the bottom part of your body is nice and stable and still. Lengthen the arm to the ceiling, and back to the floor. 2 to go. Inhale first, exhale, back you go. Nice and controlled. Gaze follows the hand. Bring the arm to the ceiling and back to the floor. Okay, we've got 1 left. And the last one we're going to hang out there. So you're going to go to the ceiling. You're going to add your rotation. And when you find that point where you just cannot get any further without your knees moving, let your knees move. Let your arm go further to the ground. And just stay here for me. Nice big deep breaths, breathing in through nose and out through mouth. 1 more breath pattern, big deep breath in and out. Okay, tummy muscles switched on. Squeeze your knees back together. Lengthen that long arm of yours to the ceiling and bring it all the way back to the floor. We're going to change sides. You could just roll over, or you can come with me and flip yourself to the opposite end of your mat. Just go cautiously when you're moving around. Don't want you to feel dizzy. Come down on this side, cradle your head, Arm could be straight. You can have a pillow if you prefer. If you've got a pillow at home, feel free to grab it. Knees bent, feet tucked back behind you. If you do grab a pillow, watch that you don't curl yourself too far forwards. You still want organisation of your head, neck and shoulders. Hand on the floor in front of you. Knees squeezed together. First two of these will just go to the ceiling. Take a breath in, breathe out to bring your arm to the ceiling. Let your gaze follow your hand, and then bring your hand back down to the floor. So we get inhale breath first. We exhale as the arm goes to the ceiling. The gaze follows it, and then we're bringing it back to the floor. Okay, we're going to go into rotation. So your arm goes to the ceiling. You're rotating further back. Your knees are squeezed together. Don't let them move. Lengthen the arm to the ceiling and bring it back to the floor. Nice long breaths. Inhale first. Exhale, back you go. Gaze follows the hand. So you're getting a nice little stretch through your neck by your gaze following your hand. Lengthen the arm to the ceiling and back to the floor. On the next one, think about what's happening with your shoulder blades. As your arms go to the ceiling. As your arm goes to the ceiling, your shoulder blade glides into the middle of your spine. And then bring it back to the ceiling, back to the floor. Okay, we've got 2 to go. Inhale first. Exhale, back you go. Still got those knees gently squeezed together. Lengthen your arm to the ceiling and back to the floor. Lucky last. Arm goes to the ceiling. Add your rotation. Go to the point where you can't move without letting your knees move, and then let your knees move. So you can get your arm to the ground. Nice big stretch. Big deep breaths. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Then switch those tummy muscles back on. Pull your knees back together, squeeze them together. Bring your long arm to the ceiling. And all the way back to the floor. Okay, roll onto your back. So you're just going to flip over onto your back. You're going to have your knees bent. And you're going to bring your arms back down by your side. Okay, we're going to revisit the body scan. So, start at the top. Head, neck and shoulders. What's touching? What isn't touching? Does it feel different to when you started? Shoulders, are they closer to the mat? Maybe one still feels a bit higher than the other. My right does compared to my left. Down through your arms, what's going on there? What's touching? What isn't touching? Through your fingers. Back to your rib cage. Think about what's touching from the top part of your spine. Down through your lower back. Into your hips. Finally down to the feet. You should have more of your body in connection to the mat. Big deep breaths. I'm going to bring this up to sitting with an assisted roll up. If you prefer to come up to sitting in a different manner, then that's perfectly fine. Otherwise, float one leg to 90 degrees and hold it there. Take a breath in, bring the second leg to join it. Spine should be in neutral, knees are at that right angle. Hands tuck underneath your knees, your arms should be straight here. Using your feet for a bit of leverage. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, your chin will come to your chest. You're going to push your feet away from you. You're going to roll yourself up, and you're just going to sit. You're going to sit still for a minute and make sure you don't feel dizzy. If you're feeling a bit lightheaded, then you're going to stay on your mat. If you're feeling okay, you're going to come up to standing with me. When you come up to standing, I want you to stand with your feet hip width distance apart, feet nice and straight and in line with each other. You're going to find a spot for your eyes in the wall across your room, and you're going to keep looking at that spot. You're going to come up onto your tippy toes and gently lift your heels up off the ground, and then slowly lower. Come up onto your tippy toes and lift your heels, and slowly lower. 2 more like that. Onto your tippy toes and lift your heels, slowly lower. And last one, onto your tippy toes and lift your heels, slowly lower. We're going to add a little stretch. So onto your tippy toes, take your arms out to the side, reach your arms right up towards the ceiling, lengthen your arms, slowly lower your heels to the ground. Breathing, inhale first, exhale. Slowly lower. You've got 1 to go. Breath in, breathe out. Slowly lower. Couple of rolls of the shoulders, couple in each direction. Go the other way. Well done, team. Hope you enjoyed that class. As per usual, it's yours to play with for 7 days. You can do it as many times as you like in those 7 days. See how your body changes if you do get the opportunity to do it more than once. If you don't get the opportunity to do it more than once, don't let that stress you out. Enjoy your day, and I will see you all soon. Bye now.